Whoa! Welcome to the What's Up Verdict podcast. We fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Tell a friend about us. Tell a family member about us. Tell a rodent detective about us. Or a rodent villain, scientist, bat. You can tell bat. Yeah. Any one of those.
That's about what you can do.
any one of those particular animals, only in animated form though, please. I don't really. Yeah. Anyway, there it is. It's week 4 of our 90 minutes or less month here in July. But before we talk about the movie coming up, we do have our sponsor to talk about, and that is Manscaped. We appreciate them. And again, sizzle alert. It's summer. It's hot. It's too hot. Unless you talk to Alec, he likes it hot. But this heat wave is killing. So this summer, let the only thing it's smoking at your barbecue be the grill, not your grooming game. Get ready for the ultimate cookout season with Manscaped. Whether you're flipping burgers or cannonballing into the pool, make sure your meat looks neat with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Fire up your grooming routine and keep it cool with Manscaped. You can head to manscaped.com and use The Verdict for 20% off and free shipping. That's The Verdict, all one word. Make sure summer sizzles for all the right reasons this year. And hey, look, if you're getting old like me, the ear and nose trimmer, God bless that shit. Because I'm telling you, you hit 40 and everything starts breaking except for hair growth in your hair, ears, and nose. That shit starts working real well at that point. So go check it out. They also got some really cool, like I'm telling you, they're the crop preserver, like the ball deodorant that they have. Like, I love that shit. Like, I never thought that I would use something like that, but now I'm like, I need my anti-chafing ball deodorant because it's amazing. So there's more than just a trimmer from these guys now. They got all sorts of stuff from ear and nose.
Shirts, too.
Shirts. They got really cool, like, travel bag that you can put all your stuff that you buy from them in with the code, the Verdict, where you get 20% off plus free shipping. But yeah, like, go check them out. Like, it's more than just their lawnmower. They have all sorts of stuff now. So go get that 20% off plus free shipping with code The Verdict, all one word, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code The Verdict, and Manscaped, the perfect way to get your patties sizzling hot this summer. So again, thank you, Manscaped. We appreciate your ongoing patronage and support and letting us represent your product. And it's been fun. We like having you around. So thank you. Let's jump into our movie, though.
Let's do it.
It's another Madsen choice. It's the Great Mouse Detective.
Stuck in Hawaii.
Yeah, he's stuck in Hawaii.
Oh, it feels so bad for you.
Yeah, I feel bad. I think he put LM, so I'm assuming that meant little man, which means I feel bad if his kids got COVID. That sucks. However,
he's stuck in Hawaii.
He's still in Hawaii. Yeah, like, sorry, I don't fucking care. I hope
he was saying it like he was stuck in Utah or something.
Yeah, no shit.
Like it was a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm stuck in the hot ass heat of Arizona. This fucking sucks.
No, this is perfect.
Then I'd feel bad for you. But Hawaii, get the fuck out of here. Though I do feel bad for whoever has COVID because COVID blows ass. It sucked. So we're going to talk about The Great Mouse Detective. It was released July 2nd, 1986. It was written by Peter Young, Vance Gary, and Steve Hewlett. It was directed by Ron Clements, Bernie Mattinson, and Dave Michener. It stars Vincent Price, Barry Ingham, Val Betton, Suzanne Polachek, Candy Candido, Diana Chesney, Eve Brenner, Alan Young, Basil Rath. Oh, sorry, that's shit. Wow, they have like voices. Basil Rathbone. I'm looking at things wrong, and then Laurie Main. It was weird because like they had them reversed because they're anyway. They used archive sounds for like the actual
Basil Rathbone
characters.
is just the archived voice.
Yeah. So anyway, there it is. Basil, the rodent Sherlock Holmes, investigates the kidnapping of a toy maker and uncovers its link to his archenemy, Professor Ratigan. Yeah. Look, this is a weird pick. It's less than 90 minutes, so it fits the theme. Way less than 90 minutes, so it fits the theme. And Mattson's on an animation kick lately. He likes the animated films. And this movie, I grew up with this movie, so like I can't be mad at this pick. Like, this is my kind of animation because this was when I was a kid, 1986. Like, I enjoyed watching movies like this, the old hand-drawn, it takes forever to do it because it's like they're doing the art versus the newfangled. Like, I don't have a problem with Toy Story, the CGI, stuff like that. It's just not, to me, like animation that I enjoy. This though, I was watching it going, I remember this movie when I was a little kid. I mean, it's been a long ass time since I've watched it, but it made me want to, I wish that my nieces and nephew were still young enough that they would enjoy this. Like, my nephew maybe, but like, this makes me want to show them like my kind of animation because theirs is very different. But yeah, it's a fun movie. But to your point earlier, this isn't necessarily a kids movie either. Like,
No, this is that weird period of time in Disney that they tried to bury.
Yeah.
The 80s in Disney, they do not have any kind of promotional material for. They tried to make it didn't exist. You have like the Black Cauldron that kind of came out at the same time, and this is a time period that Disney likes to pretend never happened.
Yeah, which is sad because, look, I love Sherlock Holmes, and Sherlock Holmes in mouse form is awesome. I think.
Yeah. So this is weird because I'm not a. It's tricky because I'm a Disney fan up to a certain point, but most of Disney I don't like.
Yeah.
And this movie I like, but not for what you would think. Like, I absolutely love Candy Candido. This dude's voice is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Anything he is in, it's like this. He was like 2 octaves below what you can play on a piano.
Yeah.
And able to still perform at that. And then Basil Rathbone is one of my favorite actors ever. Like, his film career is amazing. And so having the little, I think it's like 3 seconds of audio that's a nod to him, I think that's amazing because he played Sherlock Holmes for like some 30 years.
Yeah, long ass time.
And so, but even his film stuff is, before you were Sherlock Holmes, phenomenal. So he's such a cool part of like Hollywood that is hidden. So the fact that they were able to dig this archive footage out to put in here as a nod, naming, the main character Basil, so Basil. I mean, that's the stuff that I really enjoy in this movie. The actual movie, not so much.
That's fair.
It's kind of how I'm sitting right now currently about it.
That's fair. I get that. I think what I like about, like, there's moments, and this is another one that, like, the whole movie itself isn't necessarily great. I mean, it's just a short version of a Sherlock Holmes story, right? Like, it's not like and even that, it's not a great one because you can't do Sherlock Holmes as a kid's movie. Like, it just doesn't work. It's a very adult stuff with very adult themes and murder mysteries and things like that. So a kidnapping plot and, an attempt to replace the queen is like, you can tell they're like, we got to water this shit down. How do we do this? But there's moments in this movie as an adult that I really enjoy, like watching. And it's funny because they're all geared towards the kids and like in a certain way. Like, for example, near the end of the movie when they're trapped and they've got them hooked to the mousetrap, like it fucking cracks me up when Ratigan's like, I couldn't decide which dastardly way to end you, so I use them all. And then it's got the gun and the axe and like I love it. And then when he's sitting there and Basil's all friggin' depressed and he's pissed because he was beaten, and then all of a sudden he has this snap moment, you know what I mean? And remember, like, that moment I get all excited. I'm like, yeah, welcome back, bitch. Like, get your shit together, Basil. What the hell's wrong with you? And so, and then watching that play out, like, I wish they had done more of that. Like, where, because that's part of why Sherlock Holmes is so interesting, is like the realizing that he understands and knows something, and then having him explain it to us dumb folk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so watching him go through that moment of, oh, I just don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, ding, a light goes on. And then it's, that to me was cool. And they do some of it, but I think this is where you run into, I mean, obviously it's a kid's movie. It's an animated kid's film. And while it has some dark themes and it's a little, it's woof, geez, dark, it's still geared towards kids. And so you got to have it's got to move, right? Like, so you can't have more of that. But like that moment to me is one of my favorite parts of this movie, is because it's funny too. Because like Watson, I don't even remember what is the actual, what is it? Dawson.
Yeah.
Like Dawson freaking the fuck out, thinking he's about to get mushed and shot and cut up. Like that whole thing's funny to me. But yeah, I don't know. But it's just hard to like get excited about a hour and 12-minute movie that you're like, I would have liked to have seen a live action actual version of this story told in the very dark way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of those that I wouldn't mind if Disney brought out and remade as live action.
Yeah. Just maybe not with mice.
No, well, that's what they would do, so it'd be stupid.
Sure. Yeah.
But if they were able to pull this out and do this story,
yeah,
then I think I'd really like it. I will say though, this movie has one of my favorite pieces of animation in it, which is the clock scene near the end with the gears going and everything. Like that is some really cool animation.
Yeah.
That just pops, and it really makes you kind of go, is that clock real?
Yeah.
Like it makes you take a double take, because it is just really, really well done.
Yeah. Well, and I think about that too. And like one of the things that I appreciate about old animation, and I say old, but I mean in the 90s they did it too, the early 90s, but like the actual hand drawn, like bit by bit, like frame by frame. Because I don't know if you've ever seen like a documentary on that shit. Like it's wild. Like they literally drew frame by frame the movement, and it's like one of those little flip books that's how they end up reeling it out. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's no wonder that Disney used to have to put 3-4 years between movies, because that's how long it takes to draw that shit and then animate it. And then it's like, damn. And so I get super appreciative, and I actually forgive a lot in early animated films because of the fact that the amount of work and talent and look, that's not to say that it doesn't take talent and work and skill to build the CGI and the animation of today, but it's not the same. Sorry. Like it's just not. Yeah. And yeah.
Because you're talking hundreds of thousands of drawings for this film. And I mean, I can't remember what it was, but I saw one of those scenes about like Iwerks, who was one of the original kind of Disney guys, being able to do like way more than anybody else. And his was like 100 drawings or something like that in a day, or maybe it was something like 200 drawings in a day. And that was like top of the line. Like nobody else is even close to this dude.
Yeah, but they thought he was broken.
Yeah, like
how the hell do you do that shit?
Exactly. Like most people could do maybe 20. Is the type of stuff you're looking at, and hundreds of thousands to get, a feature length film of what was it, 77 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Wild, dude.
That is insane to think about when it comes to animation.
Yep. And I remember too, like there was a time when you go to Disney World, or I don't know about Disneyland, I'd never been, but we used to go to Disney World because we lived not too far from Florida. So they used to have like a thing, you go in and they would show you someone drawing one of the frames. And I'm like, holy shit, like that's just crazy. Because you literally had to, I think for me it was wild because I can't, I have no artistic fucking ability whatsoever. So the idea of going in and drawing Ratigan, right? And then you have to draw the background, right? And then the next page that you draw, everything has to be almost exactly identical, except just a fraction towards the movement. Like each little piece has to move. And that's why the clock scene, when you talk about the clock scene and like the fact that there's gears and I'm like, could you imagine the nightmare that was to animate, because you're drawing here and then you have to draw it moving, and that's like this gears this way, this gears that way, this gears that way. And I'm like, I would fucking draw like 6 of them and go, which fucking way was this thing going again? You know what I mean? Like, so to me, like, I just can't give enough credit to the animators that did that shit by hand. And to your point, like, you think about that 20 images a day or panels a day. That's wild. Or 100 panels a day. Sorry. That's insane. But at the same time, like, now you could probably, and I don't know, I don't work in CGI, but I would imagine on a level of this level of animation, right? You could animate 100 panels relatively quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like now they're just what they're doing is going more and more in detail.
Yeah.
Because I think Monsters Inc., right?
Mm-hmm.
Disney film, Sully, Big Monster. Like the animation didn't change so much, but the detail, like his fur, I guess, millions of actual individual pieces of fur. So they're adding more detail into it.
Yeah.
Because Disney, one thing Disney gets a lot of credit for is pioneering new ideas in animation.
Sure.
And so they would, as they got better, as the demands need to be more, they started writing computer programs and actual things to create this background kind of image for them, because they're like, yeah, fuck it. It's easier to go ahead and create this entire program for computer for a scene rather than try and animate it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So I think like one of the ones that I read about was Mulan, right? Where you have this scene near the end where you got this big kind of army on a hill. They wrote a computer program for this because they're like, there's no way we're going to be able to animate 2,000, people riding down a hill.
Yeah.
And so, but this is the 80s, right? That was 98. This is the 80s. So computers are, you're playing Pong at this time.
Yeah.
Like computers are coming along, and they were really pioneering a lot of things for this, for animation. Like, I mean, they've done the cell kind of background. In some of them where it's like, hey, here's the image. Now, we kind of print out or made the image. Now we're just going to add color to it and kind of have a static background and things like that. But they were always at the forefront. But this scene is just, the clock scene is incredible. Because you don't have the ability with a computer program yet.
No, somebody hand drew all that shit and then hand painted it. And then, you know what I mean? It's wild. It's wild. And it's cool. And so it makes, for me, and as an adult, I should say, there are levels of like old school animation that I appreciate much more because of the fact that I know how much work went into it, and for it to still look as good as it does. And it's like, damn, because some of the animation's fun. Like the robot Queen of England, like that shit's hilarious. Like when her head goes flying up, like when Basil takes control of her and he's fucking around with Ratigan, he's like messing around with it, and the head's popping up and the arms are going out. Like that shit's funny as hell to me. So I always like, yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
So I hate to be a ruiner, JJ, but I just did a little bit of look, and it looks like the scene with the clocks is kind of the first notable use of CGI. So what happened was they traced printings of gears. So it's still hand drawn. It's not like actual CGI, but they not freehand draw, we'll say.
Gotcha.
It's tracing, so probably so they can follow where the gears are going, because there's so many moving pieces. But this is apparently one of the earliest use of CGI with this mix of hand-drawn animation, because Disney was known for that as well.
Sure.
And again, pioneering it. because you have at this point, like as they're moving forward in the Disney thing, you're starting to enter the Renaissance area. Like Lion King had a lot of this mix of hand-drawn CGI, and it just kind of got more and more. I think the last one that they've done, which had hand-drawn, was actually Princess and the Frog. And that was, they took a step back to get there because they wanted the specific look that hand-drawn gives you.
Sure.
But, I mean, even just tracing images,
yeah,
I can't do that. like my fingers be twitching. those gears are gonna have some jagged motion in there because of
oh yeah, the shape's gonna be all dicked up if I'm not. No, that's good to know. But I so that it diminishes it a little, but
not
still,
a lot because it's the gears, right? The gears are what's just traced, and so they can follow it. Everything else is still hand drawn. So crazy Ratigan coming out looking like a little cocaine bear action going on. That's all hand drawn. Everything involving the gears is hand drawn. It's just the actual kind of with everything going back and forth. Looks like they just printed out or computer generated printed out images and then use those to trace and follow the movement.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring my inner Matson out again.
Okay.
Only I'm not gonna ask you. I'm just gonna read some interesting trivia that I found.
Sounds good.
So during the recording of Vincent Price's lines, animators sketched his exaggerated Shakespearean gestures and then worked them into the animated poses for Ratigan. Because that's Vincent Price. Like the guy was wild. So Ratigan was originally designed to look thin and weak, but when Vincent Price was chosen to play the role, his appearance was changed accordingly. So that was interesting. And then here, I'll ask you this
Vincent Price needs leg day.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit. Oh, look, there's your clock tower scene being the first major use of computer animation. Vincent Price realized a lifelong dream with this film. What was it?
Lifelong dream with this film. Participating in a Shakespeare story.
No. It was he wanted to be the voice of a character in Disney film.
Yeah. I guess that.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Fine. But yeah, he's funny. How many films did Basil Rathbone play Sherlock Holmes?
I know this. I've heard it. At least I think I've heard it. I must say it's 68.
Oh, way too high.
Way too high? Then it's 39.
14 films and then television.
Oh, okay.
14 films. So I got you on the films. It doesn't say how much television though. So
14 films.
14 films. It was also, but interesting enough, Basil was also the name of a character that was written for Sherlock Holmes. Like he dressed up because that was Master of Disguise was a Sherlock Holmes thing. Mm-hmm. One of the characters that he was in that Arthur Conan Doyle wrote for The Adventure of Black Peter was Basil. So one of those interesting carryover things. Yeah. Fun stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah, there it is. There's some trivia for you. There you go, Matson. I don't know. Look, this is probably going to be one of our shortest episodes because, I have no idea.
I don't have a lot to really say about it because, I mean, okay, well, I guess maybe I do have a little bit more. Is Candy Candido?
Yeah.
Holy shit! I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch, we'll say, but Fidget.
Mm-hmm.
The bat, Candy Candido's voice is so amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be replicated. It's deep, guttural, raspy, all in one.
Yep.
And you can pick it out in any Disney movie, because I think he was in 4 or 5 where he voiced characters. And you can pick them out. You're like, aha!
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so recognizable. And I mean, even being able to low voice, guttural, raspy, Fidget's the funniest character in this entire thing.
Oh, for sure.
where it's like crossing off the items off of his list, or he's telling Ratigan what he's done.
Yeah.
And it's like uniforms, forgot the girl or whatever. Like there was something that he forgot, and it's a little bit of this. At this point, this is like the Disney's entering the villain scene with this sidekick, and the villain's kind of the sidekick, a little Igor, right?
Yeah.
What it is, it's this Frankenstein Igor kind of combination, and just the whole like fidget. Fidget gets the lures. It's like I'm fucked. Like,
oh yeah,
this is it. I'm done. Type of a thing. And I mean that byplay is what really kind of gets me in this movie. Is anytime Fidget is involved.
Yeah.
Even to the point where like feeding the queen to the cat. Like he's walking down doing this little jingle. Yeah. Jingle that he made up. And that's what gets me, and it's because it's Candy Candido's voice.
Yeah,
like you can put anybody else in there, and it's not as funny.
Oh yeah,
it could probably be a little bit annoying, but just having this deep voice, it's at such at odds.
Yeah,
right, because you'd almost expect Ratigan to be played by Candy Candido.
Yeah.
This kind of but no, it's the sidekick gets this role, and so. That's something that I do appreciate within this movie.
Yeah, speaking of Candy Candido and Disney films, I got one word for you. How?
Yeah.
yeah. He was the chief in Peter Pan.
Chief in Peter Pan. He's the alligator, crocodile, and Robin Hood.
Yep.
Trying to think what else he said. I know there's a couple more, but it's like off-bit parts.
Yeah. Robin Hood's one of my favorite Disney.
That's up there for sure.
I love that one. He's also in the Black Cauldron. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the sidekick again, isn't he?
Yeah, the Horn King's guards.
Yeah.
So I guess he did. Yeah, and then Fidget. That's funny. Mighty Mouse. Nice. Candy Candido. Yeah, what a voice, man. Some people are just blessed with that shit.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I always sound like I just swallowed a frog, so no voice work for me anywhere, which is ironic since we do a podcast. But anyway, let's rate this thing.
Do it. I can go first this time.
I was gonna say you're going first this time. This is hard.
This is hard, and so I'm gonna take the coward's way out, and I'm gonna go middle of the road 2.5. Because 100%, I'll own it, because it's not a movie I really enjoy, but the Easter eggs, the nods that are in here, just the little, the Sherlock Holmes kind of, we'll say, paraphernalia to it is what really I enjoy about it. So for that, it gets a 2.5, and it will be watched again, but it's not something I'm like, you know what, sounds like a good watch. The Great Mouse Detective, that's what.
Yeah. That's funny. I am not going to take the coward's way out. I'm going to take the nostalgia route and give this thing a 4 because it reminds me of my childhood, and I love Sherlock Holmes. Like, Sherlock Holmes is some of my favorite literature, period. Like, I love Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I love his writing. I love the stories of Sherlock Holmes. I love most of the adaptations, and this one's fun for me too. So like, I enjoy it, especially from a kid's perspective. It is really short. It's really sweet. It gets to the point really quickly. It's very dark. Like, it actually attacks some really, like, you're like, oh shit, this is okay. And, but yeah, like, I like it. It made me happy watching it again, as much as I hate to admit that. But like, I don't know that I'll watch it again purposefully, unless like maybe one of my nieces wanted to watch it or something like that, or if it's on. But I just don't know. Like, I'm like you. I'm not gonna be like, oh, what sounds like a good watch right now? The Great Mouse Detective. Like, that's just never gonna happen. But I'll never begrudge it. It's good animation. It takes me back. I like the old school, even if it did use some CGI in the clock tower. I like old school hand drawn. Like, I like that look. I like that feel. which is part of the reason that animation just hasn't been the same for me for a long time. Not that I don't enjoy some of it. It's just it doesn't feel the same or look the same to me. And that's what I grew up on. So there it is. Probably a higher score than I should have given it. You're welcome, Matson. But yeah.
And we'll give Matson score 2 based on his last 30 movies. It's going to be a 0.5.
Such a sour dour face. Hates. I swear this guy's on a movie podcast and he hates all movies.
He really does, though.
I know. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
There's like 6 he likes.
Yeah.
We're doing 3 of them this
week.
And he's not even here.
No shit. Oh, it's hilarious. All right. Well, Alec, tell everybody where they can find us.
Happy to. So this wraps up week 4 of, I believe the topic officially is movies that are under 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. So special thanks to our patrons for selecting this topic. It's been nice not having to watch any real marathon movies. So special thanks, Richard, Mel Brooks, and Alan Smithy with 2 E's. You guys are amazing for doing that. If you guys want to get involved with selecting topics and selecting movies, Patreon's a place to do that. The Patreons are able to just submit topics to us. There's no kind of voting involved there. It's, hey, what sounds good? Send out a topic. JJ kind of like, let's do this for this month, this for this month, this for this month. And then we give you guys movies in those topics that you then select. And that's how we get our lineup. So 100% of it comes from Patreon. There's no kind of wheeling and dealing on our part. So if you guys want to get involved in that process, Patreon's a place to do so. With that, I'm going to kick it back to our Lord and Savior, Jack Dunn's baby, the Wizard of WAP, a JJ.
Yeah. The Wizard of WAP. Wow. So with that, thanks, buddy. Go check out Patreon. And thanks to our patrons. And with that, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagical.
Yeah.